Hello everybody, and welcome back to Northern Lights. We finally made it to the camp. They've been talking about it for a while. I'm excited. Have you all ever gone camping? I've never really gone camping. The closest I've been to camping is watching the anime you do camp. So, tell me in the comments if you're a big camper, or do you like the anime you do camp? I want to know. A crackling, popping, toasty fire kept the increasingly chilly night air at bay, encouraging the lot of us to relax by its warmth. So, this is the site y'all go to most. Yep. Well, ever since Aldrich could drive. How did y'all find it?
I was looking at old maps of the park one day. This trail used to be an official route, but got taken out in the past couple of years.
Why was it removed?
Honestly, they probably decided it wasn't worth the maintenance efforts, considering the trek needed to get here.
Crazy to think you used to be able to travel to Aspen Hollow from this place with relative ease. Just an hour by horse. Oh, excuse me. Misty had a curious grin on her face, not saying anything further as they continued to settle in by the fire, relaxing after the long week.
Anyways, we kept maintaining whenever we kept it maintained whenever we go camping. Clear out for the drive.
It's our secret spot now, and our favorite. It's really pretty. Peaceful. Sitting by the warmth of the fire, I couldn't help but admire the soft, radiant glow it gave Aldrich. We could be looking at the scenery, right? No, we're looking at the pupper over there. Same, but the steadfast sparkle in his eyes brightened brighter than ever. This was much like summer camp all over again, with us peacefully enjoying everything Mother Nature had to offer, together again. And the letters. Nothing would get in our way of our friendship again, our unique connection. The future is ours. I gotta tell him about them. But not yet. Not here. Not with others listening in. Oh, Aldrich, my package from home got here earlier this week. All of the movies I've made, film equipment. It could finally show you, if you want. I could hear it was hard to decide which film I'd show him first. Maybe the very first one ever made. Perhaps our most recent, Corel Queen. Or one among the dozen handfuls we made in between. Why not go in chronological order?
I love that.
Maybe we'd love to see the one I'd made shortly after summer camp. A monster lurking in peaceful lake waters. Hey, Cody. I know we've talked about some about the legends of Louisiana, but what about you? Do you miss living there? Misty's question caught me a bit off guard. Truthfully, I'd never taken the time to consider the full extent of what I'm missing about my past. It's weird. I miss parts of it. My friends, the food, the landscape. But I can't say I really miss the daily life there. Is that weird? I mean, I should miss it more, yeah? I spent 18 years there and all. Aldrich rubbed my back for a moment, before reaching into one of the coolers to grab out a canteen.
Graduating high school changes a lot of things. The way we see the world, new freedoms, liberation. We're facing down a future that is finally ours to own. One that we can be the sole author of, for better or worse. This past summer, I felt that I learned something new about myself every day.
Is that... It was that way too, with Tobin, Liam, and I. This summer just felt different. We were freer than we'd ever been before. We took more risks, more chances. Trespassed more times than I can count, all for the sake of wanting to make new movies. Misties fixed their gaze firmly on me, their tails slowly swishing back and forth, a mischievous twinkle in their eyes. You like to go to abandoned places as well? Of course! I might not be a history buff, but there's something so magical about old factories, ships, and homes. Mysterious. Sometimes tragic stories lie behind them. History books are nice, but nothing compares to walking through it. They're headstones of the town's past. Each decaying structure is a testament, a window into the tenacity of man. What, Devin? Yeah. Headstones might be feel like a fitting word for this town, all right. Devin huffed as he worked on chopping a selection of carrots. Oh, onions? I don't like onions. And potatoes. Misty's brow furrowed, the lion standing up to join the Doberman at the table. Another rejection. I just don't get it. Nearly every restaurant in town now has turned me away. I'm going to be stuck cooking fries and burgers at the lodgepole for the rest of my life. What about Marco's? They also said no. Aldrich wrapped an arm around me as we scooted closer together on a blanket, letting my head come to rest on his shoulder.
Dev's been trying to get proper line cook work for a while. Really having bad luck at it, though.
Oh, he do be shirtless. He do be shirtless.
Hey, it's not my fault. It's probably because of the lodgepole. They think I'm only good for pressing timers and following some bullshit guidebook.
Nobody is saying it's your fault.
It has to be someone's fault. I've applied to every damn near restaurant in Aspen Hollow, Cedar Valley, and they all turned me down. How am I supposed to get my foot in the door of kitchens around the world if places in my neck of the woods won't even let me run prep?
Devin huffed again and added the vegetables to a Dutch oven, setting it back on the camp stove to sizzle away. And it's not like you're the only one struggling. I still can't reliably book gigs, and my concert last week was my worst yet. A dour mood that has been cast over the campsite, and even Misty had fallen prey to it. With both them and Devin openly venting frustrations, already I felt the urge to complain about Leonard again. The concert was amazing, though. Well, that doesn't matter if no one shows up, Cody. It's always a nice thing to say, but, and do be that way. You're just saying that to be nice. You're too kind to say otherwise. It really wasn't. Hell, it was bad enough that 2 gigs I had lined up decided to cancel on me.
Well, then they're idiots who are missing out.
My vocals were off for half the performance. It didn't pull a big enough crowd. A cryptid spit shouldn't be struggling to find work like we are. Seeing Misty in such dour mood had me sinking into myself. They'd always appeared to be the life of the party until now. Aldrich tensed up against me before speaking up.
We're supposed to be out here, relaxing.
Do you guys ever feel like Aspen Hollow is just wrong?
What?
When I was on the bus riding to Aspen Hollow for the first time, I sensed that there was a distant sadness to everything. Despite the beauty of the landscape, homes are run down, people seem less keen to talk. And maybe it's just a southern thing to have a city so lively, while the way of life being different here caught me off guard. I've been so certain that I wanted to go into a career of making movies. I left New Orleans behind to chase that dream, but now... My head leaned a bit on the weight of all of the bad moments in Aspen Hollow, piled onto my shoulders all at once. I don't know. Maybe it's a stupid thought. Just a gut feeling. Only times I felt happy here for more than 5 seconds is when I'm spending time with y'all or Vinny. I'd end up going through the motions too, if I never leave. Just about everyone born here never moves away.
Guys, can we please just drop this?
Aldrich's voice was unusually loud and shaken. Both Dev and Misty glanced over towards him, the shepherd who often spoke with confidence and joy. Fine. Aldrich let out a heavy sigh after a short bit of silence, an arm wrapped around my back, squeezing me tight against him. Even as the shepherd gripped me against him, I was surprised with how much he tensed up from the conversation, holding me in a half that wasn't just affectionate, but comfort-seeking. Reaching a paw over, I gripped his left hand, Holding it softly, he squeezed back in return, and seemed to relax a little, laying his head against mine for a moment.
Look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get cross with you guys. Just, there's a lot on my mind. It has been ever since the semester ended. It just feels like the pressure has been getting higher and higher by the day. For myself, for us. The store, college, grades. It's like shit hit the fan all at once after we graduated. Did you know Frank still won't hire a new GM for the store?
Who's Frank?
My father, sorry. It's like he's using it as an excuse to pressure me, that there isn't anyone else good enough, nobody he can trust. Just to have to keep playing the fucking state champ smile, smiling at everyone every day. And I'm sick of it.
I've never seen Aldrich so raw and vulnerable. He'd been an unshakable pillar of confidence and determination. Now, though, against the warmth of the fire, far from town, we were all settling, yes, letting our stresses, I'm just slurring words, sorry guys, finally unleash. I could see now that he needed love, support, just as much as Dev, Misty, and I know I could be that for him, that we could be that for each other. It's okay, Aldrich. We're a pack, right? We can get through everything together.
Yeah, we are.
Aldrich sighed for a moment and nuzzled in between my ears. Still squeezing my hand, gently, steadily nuzzling me, little by little, the tension he'd developed melted away. Though I hated seeing Aldrich upset, in a way, I was glad I had. His vulnerability emboldened a deep desire for me to be there for the shepherd, just as much as he'd been for me, even though I didn't know it. And knowing that I could comfort him, eased his tension, and bring joy back into his heart, it meant the world to me. Once Dev had his stew properly going, both him and the lion joined us back at the campfire. We all seemed quietly determined to turn the campfire's funky atmosphere around. The Doberman was quickest on the draw, seizing his vacant staring at the boiling meat to turn toward me.
Hey, Cody, I was wondering if maybe we could get together weekly for a baking lesson. I'd really like to start expanding my skill set. Learned a lot from you the other day.
That's a great idea. I was actually thinking of hosting weekly movie nights for the four of us. We can just make a special day for both things, after all. Baking is better when you share the goods with friends.
Scary movies?
It doesn't always have to be. Nothing wrong with the classics. And Devin shifted noticeably in his seat, briefly grabbing his padlock, stroking a thumb over the polished metal. But Vinny also has me watch new releases before we put them on the shelves, so there's that. It sounds like a fun time. I'm all for it.
Same here. I'm dying to try more of your cooking, Cody.
Oh yeah, you better treat me to some southern cooking, sweetie. In fact, let's see let's see who here can make the best dinner. I'll be the judge, since I think Devin and I already know who Aldrich would pick. Both Misty and Dev shot knowing grins at each other, their shared laughter fully bringing the evening back to life.
Hey, I can be impartial. Aldrich, you're as impartial as a rock.
Aldrich huffed playfully in response to Devin's roast. Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think it's time to crack into tonight's story.
Damn it, I was hoping you'd forgot to tell one.
Devin huffed slightly, and passed a bowl of stew to each of us around the fire. Yes, not the flyer, the fire. It was thick, hearty oxtail stew, heavily spiced, and stick to your ribs delicious. Okay. I don't think I've heard that before, but all right. It's like, stick to your ribs? I'm sure that's a saying. I'm not good with those things. It's fine. The whole lot of us enjoyed dinner slowly, while Misty ate as fast as they could, eager to get on with telling the story. Playfully giggling, Misty moved their chair to the opposite side of the three of us, across the fire. which carved shadows on their faces. They took a deep breath, steadily then, excuse me, steadying themselves before getting started. The Gold Rush Day. Here, let me readjust. That was spooky. Let me readjust the sound mixer real quick. If it's going to be that loud. That looks a little too loud. Okay. The Gold Rush days of Aspen Hollow were prosperous times and equally treacherous. Back then, you were just as likely to strike it rich as you were to find a knife in your back. Pioneers, miners, ranchers, all were at each other's throats, vying to make the most of the land for personal gain. And that's the story I want to share with you tonight. A wicked tale of betrayal and a lingering specter.
Oh, please, not this one. Tell a different one.
Devin sunk into his chair, staring at Misty with pleading puppy eyes, begging that they would be merciful to him this evening. Not very far from where we were gathered tonight, you'll find a lone cabin in the woods. An old homestead for the days of yore. On a night just like this, it lives in shadows. Once, it was a place of love, prosperity, and dedication. They say you couldn't have found a happier family on the frontier. One day, the father came home from the mines, a nugget of gold heavy in his pocket, and a skip in his step. This is the one. Enough at last. He was a man with far-reaching ambitions and stubborn hopes for his family. Though they were content, he always wanted to do more for his loved ones. Grant them the kind of opportunities they believed only existed in dreams. Little did he know, his eyes had not been the only ones to spot that nugget. They were two brothers, the, what is this name? Tannersons? The Tannersons? Tannersons. The fiercest in the West, who knew nothing but hard work. After all, why sweat under the noonday sun when steel and lead could do the heavy lifting for you? And that fateful night, they came to call, a crack in the dark as the door was kicked open. The mother barely had time to scream before the room had lit up by a muzzle flash like lightning. The father yelled her name in anguish. The robbers then took the son, gun to his head, knife to his belly, slicing it deep. The promising pup got gutted like a fish. Father was next, beat to near death as the bandits forced him to hand over the gold. Another bang rippled through the night, and he too lay dead. Their son was left there, gutted, beaten, and unbeknownst to the assailants, barely breathing. He somehow survived the night, but the stable life he once cherished hadn't been so fortunate. Holding his ma's hand, he stared into her cold eyes. And after the bleeding had stopped, he buried them beneath an old pine tree. It's said that his howls of anguish could be heard through all of Montana, as well as wails of pain as he stitched himself back together. Though, you can't stitch up a broken soul. Something had changed in the boy. There were those who said he never spoke another word. Others that he went mad, talking in the shadows, seeing things that weren't there. Years passed, and when he died, alone in that cold house, legend had it he never truly passed on. Instead, he stayed behind and waited. Waited for the sounds of boots crunching through leaves, the creak of the porch boards, the jingle of coins in someone's pocket. They say that, to this day, if you were to step foot in that cabin, he'd mistake you for one of them. And he will not let them take anything else from him ever again. Aldrich's eyes twinkled, even clapping briefly as Misty finished telling their haunting story. It was unsettling, to say the least, depressing more than anything else, not dissimilar to the tragic horror I enjoyed telling. The lion really has something else. Really was something else, okay. Much more theatrical this time around. Man, that's really messed up. I loved it! You know, Cody, if we have a little tradition in our group. We have a little tradition in our group. Misty spoke with a mischievous smile, their features looking extra devilish against the firelight.
Oh, come on, Misty. That's enough. Don't make 'em.
What? What is it?
They want you to go to the cabin. We've all done it on our own. There's nothing there, though. Just old bricks, cobwebs, and silence.
So, say what you want, sheepy, shappy. But every word of the story is true. So, Cody, will you accept the challenge? Devin was shaking his head side to side, a quiet plea for me not to. He seemed desperate for any chance to steer away from the subject. Meanwhile, I was deeply invested. Even if the story wasn't true, the chance to see an abandoned homestead wasn't one I wanted to pass up. Sure, I don't see why not. Lovely. We'll find the cabin if you walk straight in that direction. You must go inside. We'll find an where you'll find an old table. Once you touch it, and only then, you're free to return. Good luck. Misty giggled mischievously. Aldrich passed me a flashlight as I stood up with a look of determination, ready to prove my mettle. Metal? Yes. Deal.
Dude, I'm serious. You don't want to go. That place is insanely haunted. I still remember feeling something crawling down my neck. It was probably a spider. The spiders don't freeze me solid.
Standing to the edge of the campsite, listening to them go back and forth, thinking of the cabin with a dark past, my mind wandered to what's happened to me before. All those times I found myself alone in the dark. Stretches of time spotted and lost, noises in the shadows, fire on my fur. It was like the dark corners of Aspen Hollow rarely ever gave me a chance to truly feel alone. Even sleep had hardly been a chance for a respite since moving here. Aldrich must have noticed my hesitation, standing up to join me by the tree line, placing a paw under my back.
Don't worry, Cody. They're just trying to psych you up. Nothing spooky about that place at all. You get into any trouble, just shout, and I'll come find you.
His offer brought a smile to my face. Aldrich had a way of pulling me out of sadness, fear, darkness. He was my shining knight, rising up to make me feel safe whenever fear took hold. Alright, everyone. I'm gonna be ending the part here, so I do hope you all have enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.